Okay, I got my coffee. So this is part 2 of my morning everything rant. So Iran hit a missile struck a hospital today. I think two hospitals and an apartment building. So, it's just, Israel's hitting military targets, military equipment, blah, blah, blah. They're not killing civilian people. And actually, there is a drone footage of an Israeli drone following a missile launcher outside the city, away from people, before they blew it up. That just shows you the restraint of the Israeli military. They don't want to kill civilian people. They don't want to kill innocent people. Who they want to kill? They want to kill murderers. Rapists. That's who they want to kill. Not innocent people. So they're taking out the leadership. The ones that are barking the orders, telling the other morons, to go and murder, rape, and pillage, that sort of thing. And so I think this should have been done decades ago. Anybody dogging Israel right now is just a deranged freaking lunatic. I mean, my whole life, you've watched on the news, innocent Israeli civilians being murdered, stabbed to death, blown up in buses, this and that, by Hezbollah and Hamas, for decades, I was so happy to see Yasser Arafat, die. I'll be honest with you. That was an evil son of a bitch. And he deserves death. And he's burning in hell where he should be. And all these other Hamas dudes, that have raped Jewish women and murdered them and dismembered them. They're all burning in hell today. They're not getting 72 virgins from Allah. There is no Allah. Let's be clear on that. There is no. If Allah were so great, right? If Allah were so great, how come over the last, say, 100 years, they've been getting their ass beat? We could go back to Saladin and we could go back and to antiquity. They had their moment because people were ignorant. They couldn't read, couldn't write. So you had these yahoos saying, "Oh yeah, the prophet said this. The prophet said, yeah, Muhammad couldn't read or write, and he was raping little girls." There's a moron on YouTube, some Islamic dude saying, "Yep, we have a right to have 4 wives. We have a right to have sex slaves. Women do not have the right to tell us no. And if we want that, pardon my French, we want that honey hole. We can beat you till you give it to me." I mean, that's the Islamic faith. That's what they teach these dudes. So Islam's about sex and war, rape and pillage, subjugation. Read the Quran. You can get an English version of it. You can get an English version of the Hadith. Read it for yourself. And then compare that to the Bible. It's not rocket science, morons. There's 2 genders, male and female. And I go on and on. I mean, it's just like, there was a thing on X this morning. These 2 chicks had their tits removed, and this gross scar across their chest for no fucking, pardon my French, for no effing reason at all. Other than they want to look like a boy. I feel like a boy. I don't feel like a girl. I'm going to cut my boobs off. You don't see all these tranny dudes getting their penis and their balls whacked off. Some do, but it's very small. Very, very small. But the rest of them don't. They get the silicone implants, and they take the hormones, and, some of them look awfully female, and that's because of the hormones. But they're not women. Take the hormones away, the long hair will fall out, they'll go back to being bald, they'll get hair all over the place, and their voices will change. It's like, give me a break. How does that make sense to anybody? It doesn't. To anybody with common sense and smarts, none of this is normal. It's not normal. They're trying to normalize it. I saw another thing on X where this mother took her son to get puberty blockers to continue his transformation into a female. So they're holding him down on this table while this so-called doctor is implanting these hormone blockers, into this child. That's fucking child abuse. I tell you what, if I was the father of that boy, you can imagine what would happen to anybody that did that to my kid. I have to watch what I say, obviously. But they wouldn't be around to celebrate another birthday. Right? I'd make sure of that. I think most men would. You can't do that to an innocent child. Oh my gosh. It's a Viking cup of coffee for real men. Hence the beard. The manly beard. Not a girly shaven face. Smooth skin. Razor burns. Ingrown facial hair. It's like, be a man or grow a beard. Or be a boy. Right? I've seen dudes with some of the best beards, man, and it's just like, this dude is like, he spends money on his beard. This dude grooms himself. He's proud of his beard, and you can always tell a lot about a dude, and women too. If their outward appearance is clean, manicured, blah blah blah. 9 times out of 10, they're very healthy. They're healthy people. 8 times out of 10, I'd go that far. They care about their appearance. They care about themselves, their hygiene, the whole 9 yards, But when you see women with the dirty fingernails, dirty toenails, just gross feet, you can imagine everything else is gross too. But a woman that takes care of herself, takes care of her hair, her face, her appearance, she's clean all over. 8 times out of 10. And so that's my little friendly advice. If you're looking for a partner, a significant other, man, look them over closely. My goodness. You see these dudes, I see them on YouTube all the time. They're talking, and then they get like this white foamy shit on their mouth or on their lip. And they don't have, who's ever recording, I'm sure they're watching it, but they don't have enough common sense to go, should probably wipe that off. Or pause, or edit that out. Nope. I watched a guy yesterday, and he was talking about SpaceX and the next rocket launch, blah, blah, blah. He's a bald-headed guy. He's got a crappy beard, and he's talking. He's got good information. So he puts out a good story. But he's talking, all of a sudden, boom, there's this white foamy spittle, on his bottom lip. And it's like that for a wee bit. It gets to the point where it's like, you know what? I can't watch it anymore. So I had to flip to something else because I can't stand that. Lick your lips. Wipe your face. Look at the camera. Make sure you don't have anything gross on your face or a booger hanging out of your nose. I actually had a boss, a female boss, many years ago. It was freaking cold outside. And we're talking to some other folks, blah, blah, blah. And I just happened to look over, and she's got a booger right there in her nose. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you not know you got a freaking booger hanging, out of your nostril? So I wasn't going to say anything in front of everybody and say, hey, Moron, you got a booger hanging out of your nose. You know, I mean, it's just like, what's that? You know, you got to check yourself occasionally. You know, if you're outside in inclement weather, you've been blowing your nose and your nose is runny, periodic, you know, grab a mirror. Look in the rearview mirror of your car, you know, before you're out talking to people. Clean yourself up. Don't look like an idiot. I don't know, man. I can just rant. You know, I mean, that's just my morning today. And, well, I just scratched up. Anyway, so back to Iran. And, yeah, the Ayatollah, all those guys should be done away with. So I was listening to a gentleman this morning talking about the Iranians, you know, and a lot of people don't realize they're not Muslim, they're Persian. Okay? And if you go back and look at films from, you know, the 60s and the early 70s and the 40s and 50s, blah, 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 you know, it was a good country. I mean, they were dealing and trading with Europeans, and I think most countries had a good relationship with the Iranian people, the Iranian culture. And then, you know, the Ayatollahs, these whacked out religious zealots took control, and they destroyed a country. You know, look what they did in Afghanistan and even Iraq. You know, these dictators. It's just unbelievable, and people allow it. Oh, you know, when they take your guns away, you know, it's over for you. And that's why America has remained as great as it has, is because behind every blade of grass is a rifle. And we have some awesome hunters in this country with really awesome weapons that could take you out 500-600 yards, 1,000 yards away. And these are civilians. These aren't military personnel. These aren't, you know, highly trained snipers. They're military. They're civilians. And so you'd have to be a total boob to think that you could invade this country and then just walk through the United States. That ain't happening. I've been carrying a gun for 36 years. I don't leave the house without it. Just like my wallet. Where I go, it goes. It's better to have it and never need it than need it and never have it. So those are words to live by. Words of wisdom. You know, you have a first aid kit in your house? Some people do. Majority of people don't. They have a Band-Aid or two, blah, blah, blah. But how many people have fire extinguishers in their house? I mean, believe it or not very many. So anyway, I think that Israel's doing the right thing. They should have done this years ago. But the political environment wasn't right because we had weak, feckless leaders in this country and across the globe. Macron being, you know, one of the biggest pussies in Europe. Here's a guy that gets slapped by a 70-year-old woman on the doorway of an aircraft. And I don't even think that's a woman. I think that's a dude with the ugliest wig I've ever seen in my life. Just a sickly-looking individual, married to a pathetic, weak. He's not a leader. There's no leadership quality in Macron at all. Trump dismisses that moron at every opportunity he gets because the guy's just a boob, and Trump knows he's a boob. He's a weak, feckless coward is what he is. And the stuff that he's allowed to take place in France, destroying what was once a good country. I mean, France helped the United States. I mean, how many of you people realize that? France supplied the United States with arms and munitions back in the days, you know, to help the United States become a country. I think they even supplied us with warships. So, you know, at one point, France was a good country. They helped us get started. I think they even supplied meat. So I can't really say too many bad things about France. because France, played an integral part in the founding of our country. They helped us out quite a bit, I believe, from what I've read history. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. And but France since World War I has just gone downhill. They really have. And they're just weak. And they allow all this bullshit. And you're not a better person by thinking that that a man can be a woman. That doesn't make you a good person. It just makes you a moron. It's a 15-minute video. I really rambled on a lot here this morning. So my apologies for just kind of skipping along and rambling on. For those of you that think this is, needs to be a little more focused and directed, but sometimes it's just good to just vent, right? Say what's on your mind, go from there. That's kind of me. And anyway, so I hope you guys have a good day. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. And please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you are so inclined. And I'll see you on the next video. Or you'll see me on the next video. And we'll go from there. So enjoy your day.